Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And I am with Hugh in Australia, Federal Postal Court Judge Hugh in Australia, who wants to follow up on what's happening in Australia, as well as on the back of the broadcast that we did 2 weeks ago. It's got the attention of the entire world, and for the first time historically, the Australian people now know what's going on in Australia. Who owns everything in Australia was the title. I will now pass it over to Hugh. Welcome, Hugh.
G'day, Mark. Thanks you for the introduction. Wow, it's been a crazy 2.5 weeks since we released that Who Owns Australia, Everything in Australia. And I'm getting so many inquiries as well as my chats and every other platform. And I'm getting a lot of volume going through in the quantum landlog as well. And
How's
I
that
guess
going? How is
oh,
that going, Hugh?
it's going really well. A lot of people have very detailed information when they upload their things, and they're answering the question very well. I guess as part of today's live stream, I'd like to give some feedback
Yeah.
on some
So
of the answers. Yeah.
so the landlog is going fantastically well. Sorry about the word fantastic, but I like these words. And not only that, it's captured the attention of the entire world to realize they don't need to log their property with the existing status quo, because when you log it with them or register it, you're surrendering it to the Registrar General. And by
Mm,
logging it in the system that we created, essentially what is happening is that they are logging it on our hub, but they are taking full custody of their own property. That
correct.
means they're not registering it to us, they're registering it to themselves, and we facilitate that. So we're the hub that allows that facilitation to take place. We've, of course, through so much media manipulation, people are not aware that even their own cars and their own driving licenses and passports don't belong to them. It's very hard for general public to understand their passport doesn't belong to them
Mm,
because they never logged it in properly, or they've never actually counter autographed their passport or their driving license to make their terms and conditions known to the people that issue the passports and driving licenses. So it's identical in that sense, is that we've taught them how to take full custody of their own properties. Yeah, it's
mm,
like, paraphrasing it again, when you register your children to the state, who owns your children? They become ward of state, don't they? And that's
yes.
the same with all of these things. So when you are able to log your properties, this includes your live life claims, the physical land that you live on, as well as your DNA, because we've allowed all of those things to be logged: their DNA, their biology, their name, their physical addresses, their Ordnance Survey coordinates, their GP address, the lands that they have, and the boundaries of those lands in their correct language and in the correct language, as to opposed to having it all registered
Mm,
in what we've now come to understand as being Norfolk Island. Yeah.
correct.
So just bring us up to speed again.
Okay.
What's the significance of that? Because the general public really need to grasp this in terms of,
Mm,
say, new technology like Bitcoin, as to opposed to the old technology or the fiat currency notes that have now
mm.
completely lost, like, what, 50% of its purchasing value? Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Let me give the audience Norfolk Island and the difference between Norfolk Island and Terra Australis. So according to the definition of Australia and Commonwealth of Australia in the Acts Interpretation Acts 1900 and the various revisions, they define Australia as the Commonwealth of Australia, which is the same as Commonwealth of Australia. And when they refer to geographic location, it includes Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, the Cocoa Islands, but does not include any external land territory at all. So just to say that in a different way, Australia is defined according to the Interpretations Acts, which is what they use to refer Australia as, is everything including, is Norfolk Island and the other islands, Christmas Island, Cocoa Islands, but does not include any other external territory. So when people say I am an Australian or I have an Australian citizenship, they're really connected to Norfolk Island, which is an external territory to the landmass of what I now call, or what we call, Terra Australis, rather than Australia.
Do you think it'll be worthwhile for me to paraphrase the significance and put a second voice to what you have just told us? Do you think it would be significant for the audience to hear that?
I think if you can say it in a different way, that will be very significant.
Okay,
for the understanding, for the knowledge.
Let me see if I can draw an analogy. I mean, this applies to every single country in the world, does it not? Yeah, and this registry is not restricted to Australia. It's in United States, Canada. So let's imagine we're talking about Australian people. So let's imagine people live on Australia. They call it Australia, okay? However, this is Australia, we know that, okay? But Australia, in definition, is actually Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, and the Cocoa Islands.
Yes.
Yeah. It does not include the land mass that we have commonly come to know as being Australia, that very distinctive piece of land, that massive land in the southern hemisphere. That is actually not Australia. That landmass that's being mapped is not Australia, but that landmass, by its very origins of its name, is what? Australia, Tara, what did you call it?
Terra Australis. Terra being the term, Latin term for terrestrial or land, and Australis is south, so the land in the south.
Okay, so by very pernicious individuals, what they have done is they have got the entire population of the Cocoa Islands, Christmas Island, Norfolk Island, all of these people believing that you are actually Australia in the common landmass that we understand. But they are not, are they? Because they are all citizens. All the people that live on that gigantic landmass are all actually citizens of Norfolk, Christmas, and Cocoa Islands. And they got the general public by cross-referencing words and misrepresenting words. They got the people to believe they're citizens of that gigantic landmass, but they are not. They are only visitors renting properties on that gigantic landmass. And even their passports and all of these things are issued not from that gigantic landmass of Australia, but is issued from Norfolk Island, Cocoa Islands, Christmas Island, and that is the Commonwealth of Australia. And that is
Right.
called the Commonwealth of Australia, and has got nothing to do with that gigantic landmass of what we understand as being Australia, where the natives live to this day. And hence
Mm.
the natives, so-called Aborigines, which means no original people, no original, they don't need permission to cross borders. They don't need to be vaccinated. And that's part of the evidence to let people know that they are not actually people of the original landmass of Australia. Because the
Mm.
true landmass of Australia is always been known as what? Tara, which
Tara
means Mother Earth, terrestrial, and Australia, which means
in the
authority.
south.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
you've discovered. And you've
Mm.
discovered also, to carry it on, you discovered, and well as your students and your research team, as well as the wonderful people that contributed to this knowledge, who were the Australian people themselves, we
Mm.
found that the Commonwealth of Australia is a registered company doing business as Pacamaru. Is that right?
Okay, let me give some explanation, Mark. Give me explanation. So Commonwealth of Australia is a registered corporation under the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission in the US. And people can find out that very easily because it's listed public information. Now, in Canberra, which is the ACT, which is the Australian Capital Territory, in the landmass that we call it Australia, but it's really Terra Australis. Every law that's created is always sealed by the Commonwealth of Australia, that emblem with the kangaroo and the emu. And because we found the information about who is controlling these governmental agencies, that name you just mentioned there pops up. And we did a very detailed video on that to prove, the suppression of information and 52 other trading names that's under that. And, we've gone through what sort of governmental agencies, all that essential services, enforcements, Medicaid, everything that people have
So
dealings.
everything you need a government to run a government on
Correct.
is actually
Correct.
registered in there, and they are
Yes.
doing business as, say, McDonald's, with the same powers that McDonald's has, which is none, same powers that Kentucky Fried Chicken has, which is none, and got the general public believing that they do have powers, and the way
Mm.
that you give up a power is you protest it. And when you protest it, you're handing your power over to McDonald's Corporation, Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation, because they are all one instrument. The president and the countries all run on the same instrument. And because
Mm.
they protest the instrument rather than using that wonderful word that Richard in Ireland taught me, which is F off, I will tell McDonald's, this corporation, this Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation, what to do. We've caught you out on your lie. Because of this, you are a fraudster, and we're going to put you under arrest. And I'm going to teach people how to do that. I'm going to teach the whole world how to do that and that mechanisms towards the end. So everybody, please listen. I'm going to give you the power, the knowledge, how to do that.
Mm.
Okay, and
Mm.
that's going to come from me, and I take full responsibility for it. I'll even tell you to quote my name when you put them under arrest. So we'll
Okay.
come on to that later, but you
Yeah.
carry on, Hugh. You
Okay.
carry on with the significance of what the land registry has done to rob people of their houses and homes. And you've given us a solution where they can pull that out out of the
Yes.
custody of Norfolk, Cocoa, and Christmas Island,
Mm,
and into a global federated system where they are self-logging, self-registering it to their
correct.
own names. And we
Yeah, their
got to
own name.
emphasize, yeah, we got to
Let
emphasize,
me sorry, Mark, let me
yeah,
add to
okay.
that. When they say in their own name, um, some people who have logging into the land log may not understand the factual name and also the fiction name, that the all caps, the pen name. And so with the land logs, there is a section where it asks for a live life claim. And this is when you mentioned about their body, also registering their body. This is the name, the factual name that they have. So that would be a process. We can talk about that later on in more detail. But I'm just saying to the audience that because of that, the information that we found about the private corporation masquerading as a public entity, it's everything is negotiable. So whatever you register to them, it's also registering to a private corporation. So therefore, this land log is for the opportunity to map out and log out the location in Terra Australis. That's what we want to do on the
Can I
factual claim.
paraphrase that again?
Yes.
So the status quo at this stage, and this implies also Australia, so-called England, United Kingdom, Great Britain, France, Spain. The trick is always the same. They play this same trick. Every magician plays the same trick. They just use different actors, different stages, different props, but the mechanics of the magic is always the same. So
Mm,
at the moment, the general public has to know this. Their lands and their names and their properties are not registered in Tara Australis. They're actually registered somewhere else, which means they are foreign. They are foreign to Tara Australis. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen, what I have said? So I'm going to bring another country in. In the United States, through the same mechanism of the fraud, 99.9% of the people in America, United States, are all registered as citizens of a small territory called Washington, D.C., which is a territory in itself, which is a different landmass to the rest of the country. Yes,
mm,
it's on the same piece of land, but it's like a gigantic embassy, and everybody is registered in there as citizens, which
mm,
means they are citizens of a District of Columbia. Columbia is the word. And they
mm,
do business out of Guam in South America, sorry, South Sea Islands, as well as in Puerto Rico. And their president is the president of Puerto Rico and Guam. But the
mm,
general public don't know this. And because everybody is registered in Washington, D.C., which is a embassy of Colombia and Puerto Rico and Guam, it's an embassy. That
mm,
embassy and the citizens in it and the people in the landmass of America is actually foreign to America. That's why they call it United States, but leave out America. They're not citizens of the United States of America, which is the gigantic landmass, Texas, California, and all of those sort of states. They're all registered in Washington, D.C. But the general public don't know that. And that's
mm.
what you've discovered for the first time in Australia. So those people that own houses and homes in what they think is in, say, California and so on and so forth, they don't. They're just renting it. That's why the paperwork, even when you've paid off your mortgage, says that you are only a tenant. That means you
Correct.
don't own anything. But because they
I mean,
played that trick,
mm.
the Federal Postal Court is able to reverse it and set that correct. Yeah, they are not, American people are not citizens of District of Columbia. District of Columbia is the McDonald's Corporation, as it were. It's a corporate instrument. And that corporate instrument is only there to provide essential services. But they've made you citizens of District of Columbia. That's like me saying McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, has made me citizens of their company, which means I am foreign to every part of everything in the world, except where that McDonald's, takeaway or drive-through is, and there I am registered, and all my paperwork, driving license, passport, all originate from each one of these satellite McDonald's corporations, wherever they are.
Yeah.
If that completely, they now get this, and as because of this, their biology, their DNA, their genes, their vaccines are all meant for the citizens of the Washington, D.C., the citizens of Norfolk Island, Cocoa Islands, Christmas Island, and not for the actual people that live in the United States of America, i.e. also Tara australis. And to prove that, that's why the natives of that countries are not restricted to borders. They're not being asked to vaccinate because they are people of Tara australis. And the people that know about this fraud that takes place in America are people of the United States of America.
Mm.
Do you think I have sufficiently got the general public to realize that they are citizens of Norfolk Island, Cocoa Islands, and Christmas Island, and you have provided us with a solution of reversing that?
Yes, yes. So when you see on your title deeds that you're just a tenant on the land, proves that you're just not in the right uh, you're not in the right location, but in another jurisdiction. So this land log is to combat that, to correct that, actually correct that status, and that getting it onto the factual side, because now we're using GPS location to actually log it and map it where you are actually are, rather than just on the face of the registrar that they give you. And on to add to that comment, Mark, is people can correct their nativity as well, because if they're a citizen of Australia or Commonwealth of Australia, they're actually a foreigner. So by doing a live life claim document, they can also correct that status and be native where they are standing, breathing, and earning their living.
Can I?
So, mhm.
Sorry, what I'm trying to do is trying to get into the mind of the people that we're speaking to. I mean, these are words that we know every day, live, life, claim, but the general public may not, especially the people in Australia that don't know who we are or what I am. Now, everybody in the Americas and Australia, listen carefully. You have a birth certificate, don't you? Well, that's supposed to
Yes.
be the original of that, supposed to be called a certificate of live birth. But they kept that certificate and issued another certificate that made it a corporate instrument and made you a citizen of that corporate instrument, like being a citizen of McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or Washington, D.C., or the Commonwealth of Australia. And since it's on paper, it's undone in paper. Yeah. So when you put your autograph or signature to something, you contract with it, and just as it's a piece of paper, it's a piece of paper that reverses it. So a live life claim, what it does, and please understand these live life claims are available from us and not pernicious characters like this pseudonym called Russell J. Gould, who is there just to confuse the matter. His live life claims are not valid. Why is that? What is the purpose of a live life claim or a certificate of live birth? When you witness the birth of yourself, that's one witness, because you're a self-witness, a self-qualifying man or woman, not a person. And if you can't witness yourself, then you cannot witness anybody else. First of all, that's what you have to get in mind. The second, you need two other people to say you are who you say you are, on paper, like the three wise men that witnessed the birth of Jesus and gifted him myrrh, frankincense, and gold. You know that. But if somebody, a stranger that doesn't know anything about you, witnesses your live life claim, just because you don't have two people that can do it for you, that certificate becomes invalid. That paperwork becomes invalid because you can't witness something that you're not a witness of. You can't make a witness that you witness an accident on the road and that accident never took place. You can only witness something that you know. That's one thing that they have to understand. So on paper, they robbed you of your ability to take possession of your gold, of your myrrh, of your frankincense. Yeah, these are the things that were gifted. And the process is there to reverse it. Another question I had, Hugh, is that the general public said, well, look, if we are registering it, not many, just a few, if we're registering it to your system, that means you are now taking control of our property. I mean, that's a reasonable statement. If they are moving away from Australia, Commonwealth of Australia, their land registry system, same with the Americans, and they're registering it with us, they're saying to us, obviously, well, then you are in control of our properties and we are not. No, that's not how it works. So think of the Bitcoin. When you convert your fiat currency, your worthless promissory notes, into a factual currency like gold, silver, copper, or Bitcoin, what is happening is that you are taking custody of that coin because the serial numbers that come with those coins are unique to you and are given to you. That's your birthright. And just as when you store your digital cryptocurrency in a wallet, but the wallet belongs to you, it doesn't belong to us. So the wallet creators are giving you the faculty to be able to take control of your wallet with that unique serial number, which you can regenerate anywhere in the world. And your wallet, if you lost it, is back with you. We're just providing the hub, but the serial numbers and the value of the property is unique to them. We're just providing the service to be able to do that, like a Bitcoin wallet provider does. The Bitcoin wallet provider is not taking control of your wallet. That's yours. So when a street vendor sells you a wallet to put your notes in, he doesn't keep the wallet like a bank does. It's yours, and what's in there is yours. So do you think I've made it very clear to the general public? We've actually taught them the mechanism of self-registration. When you know how to register, self-register, and administer your own trust and your own life and your own property, it's the era of Bitcoin. No government, which is a public operation, can touch it, because they're public and they are actors passing acts.
That's correct.
Yeah. So do you think we have explained to the general public this incredible mind shift that your public servants don't work for you.
That's
They
correct.
work, and their loyalty is to a small group of individuals, i.e., in Australia, that own the company called Pacamaru, which is registered in Norfolk Island, Coco Island, Christmas Island. And that's where all the soldiers and that's where all the police officers are registered in. They are all administering the policing and the armed forces to make sure their citizens of Norfolk Island, Coco Island, Christmas Island are behaving themselves in a foreign country. Do you
Correct.
guys understand what we are telling you? Yeah.
We're
So, and we'll
saying
give you the solutions how to deal with the army and the police because we have that. But my main concern at this moment with Hugh and I is that have I successfully. Oh, we've gone offline. There's interference, Hugh. Hugh? There's Hugh. Are you able to hear me?
yes,
We got huge interference. They're interfering with our connection. They're trying to cut it off.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, they're trying to cut off our connection, Hugh. We got interference. Did you hear what I said?
I missed a few sentences.
We got interference. Somebody's trying to cut our line off and slow our bandwidth down so much that this information is not getting through. Can you
repeat
hear
that,
me,
Mark?
please? Sorry?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay.
Mark.
You need to keep letting me know that you can hear me by putting your thumbs up or something because I've got interference now. My bandwidth has been reduced to virtually none. I have super fast bandwidth to make these broadcasts. So let's now just change subject a little bit. A few weeks ago, the government of not Australia, terrestrial Tara Australis
Australis, yeah.
put out an order that all live streaming, cell phones and stuff needs to be shut off, and they're confiscating phones. So tell us a little bit more what's happening in Australia with that, and let's go on to the solutions, how to put these people under arrest.
Well, if you're referring to the sort of hacking that the viruses that they say that will come out on the network, they would shut many devices, just like the corona virus, that they have to shut the businesses down and all the shops and everything. They're going to do the same for this particular one. So you find that if they do that, then the internet, in terms of the connectivity, we can't really do stuff like this, what we are doing right now, because the devices have been shut down. And that's going to cost a lot of money. Just imagine 1 or 2 days without internet. So many businesses will be online and just exchanging data. The amount of losses will be in the billions of dollars. Right. Also, with I can also mention the identify and disrupt that they rules that they come out to identify anybody that they can sort of take over their emails and accounts to see whether they are some sort of terrorist or some sort of like presuming that they could be doing something wrong. So in other words, they can effectively frame somebody, in terms of their digital social media and what not they have. That's what's happening in Australia with those rules coming out. So these laws are coming out is just breaking so many basic human rights for an average person just going about their business.
Can I
Over to you,
explore
Mark.
that with you? And the
Sure.
general public, once again, have to focus in on what I'm saying. The people that they're controlling are citizens of Norfolk Island, Cocoa Islands, and uh, Christmas Islands. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the power that they have over you. And that's the reason why they're saying is that you're terrorizing Tara Australis. That's how they made you terrorists. That's how they made you foreign by this bureaucratic process. But in reality, you know this is a lie. So how are they able to do this? It's because your subconscious mind, and I know that Australian people don't believe in any of these things. The Australian people, their subconscious mind, their spirit, their higher functioning part of their brain, which is part of a science called psychology. Psychology means the study of the human spirit. That's what it means in Latin. They have informed and have learnt to control your subconscious mind and already educated your subconscious mind to say that you are actually foreign. What we have done is moved that sphere of knowledge from the subconscious mind and into the conscious mind of the Australian, American, Canadian, English, French, Spanish people. We have migrated that hypnosis of how they're doing it into the conscious mind for us now to be able to tell the Australian people, the American people, the Canadian people how to take control of your lands and sack your governments and put the police officers and the soldiers under arrest for treason. We are not going to do it for you, because we have already done it for ourselves. We have already done this for ourselves. But we can't do it for every single individual unless you step up and do this. You have to do this for yourself. And I will teach you that mechanism in the next coming few minutes.
Yeah.
So that's something that they have to understand, is that just like District of Columbia is so obvious to the American people now, because about 20% of the American population now understand and know they're actually citizens of a foreign country called District of Columbia. And since this is so new to the Australian people, that they're actually citizens of Norfolk Island, Cocoa Island, and Christmas Island, under a company, citizens of a company calling itself collectively the Commonwealth of Australia, the Commonwealth of New Zealand, the Commonwealth of Canada, the Commonwealth of the United States, not America, and the Commonwealth of the West Indian Islands. This manner of fraud has been broken. And what's the significance of that? When you reveal the magician's trick, the magician can no longer perform his trick because the audience already know what's coming. The magician openly says he's a magician on stage, but these people did not. They are not. These people are pickpockets. But when a pickpocket does it as entertainment on stage, it's a game. But the government and the privateers have been caught pickpocketing your pocket. And therefore, you are able to put them under arrest, whether that's a man in a uniform or not. When a police officer puts his hand in your pocket, you have the right to grab hold of him and put him under arrest.
Mm.
And we're going to teach you that now. Before we do that, is there anything else do you think that we need to educate the general public on?
Yes. This is down the line. Some New Zealand folks are asking whether I've got a question whether they're also registered under Norfolk Island and the likes, like Australia. So that's something that we can explore down the road, because I guess every realm of Commonwealth, they do that sort of switching of the jurisdiction. Would you agree, Mark?
Yes.
But
So,
you have to
first of all,
identify
my
what it
question
is.
would be, sorry, I beg your pardon, Hugh.
Go on, Mark.
Is New Zealand part of the Commonwealth?
Yes, it is.
So the same trick has been played on the New Zealand people. Because why do they call it New Zealand? Why do they call it New York?
New York.
Because
New
it's
Zealand.
it's something new. It's not new, it's not Zealand, like Switzerland,
Zealand.
like England, like Ireland.
Ah.
It's New Zealand, yeah. So it essentially is like old Labour revenuing itself as new Labour.
Right. It
So
sounds to me like they're repackaging it, huh?
it's the same old trick that
Yeah.
they played. Okay, and
Mhm.
yes, that's why it's called New Zealand. It's because they're not people of the land of Zealand. They're not people
Yeah.
of the territory of Zealand.
Zealand. Yeah, Zealand.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So it's like calling the people of England, it's like calling an Englishman or a woman a citizen of the United Kingdom, which is a corporation. They've taken
Yes.
them out of England.
Yes.
And this is happening in
Same thing.
Ireland. This has happened in, and we're going to now show that. Do you think we should now show? Well, do you think I need to tell them how to put these people under arrest?
I think it's I think it would be a very good knowledge for those who have that volition, Mark.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let me give them the background, and please listen very carefully. People of Ireland, people of Scotland, people of Wales, people of United States of America, people of Mexico, people everywhere around the world. Listen very carefully. You now know that you have been lied to and you have been what they call diaphored. Diaphored means that you take, say, for example, Jamaican people, and you make them believe that you don't come from that land, but you are descendants from African slaves. That's not true. No Jamaican is African unless they come from Africa within a few generations. They're actually natives. But what they do is they get the Jamaican people to believe you are descendants from another country. When they do that, they actually believe it. And when they believe it, they now become non-native to Jamaica. So they lose what's known as their nativity. Everybody now understands this. Everybody understands that. That's called diaphoring.
Yes.
That's the psychological brainwashing that takes place that controls 99% of your body and thinking. Period. That's a science. We already know that. That's the psychological element. Now, listen up very carefully. The people, the Commonwealth of Australia, the Commonwealth in itself, the whole Commonwealth of United States of America and all these places they leased these lands. So the citizens of that country called Norfolk Island or Washington, D.C., or Christmas Island or New Zealand, they leased these lands called Stara Australis and Zealand or Americas The true word is not Americas, because that's, fiction. That's a made-up story like Captain Cook. They leased it for 99 years. And they took the citizens of Christmas Island and the citizens of Washington, D.C. and various other places, and they put them in Tara, Australia, in America, leasing those lands for 99 years. This includes Israel as well. And this is very important. Those leases are running out. In Australia, that lease is run out. In New Zealand, that lease is going to run out. In America, it's run out 2-3 years now. In Canada, that lease has run out. That means the citizens, the government, the corporations that migrated the people on paper to Tara Australis and America no longer have a lease on the property that they're on paper. And because of this, the corporations have to pay for the migration of the Australian people, Commonwealth of Australian people, to take them off. They have to pay for the taking off of those people from Tara, Australia, from the United States of America, and put them back into Cocoa Islands, Washington, D.C., Christmas Island, Norfolk Island. They have to pay for all of that. But they don't want to. So what they have done is cooked up terrorism on the people. And this is how it works, because we know the vaccines are highly toxic. We know that according to the Jewish doctors themselves in Israel, that lease has now run out. In Israel, that lease has run out. So the people have to go back to their origins, just like Norfolk Island. So what they're doing is they are killing the people. They are killing the people so they don't need to compensate them for the loss of property, for the loss of money, and for their sweat equity. So as a result, when they take the vaccine, they are saying that we are citizens of Washington, D.C. We are citizens of Norfolk Island, Cocoa Island, Christmas Island. And we are not the people, the native people in Tara Australis. In other words, just as that Jewish doctor revealed to us, they're killing millions of Jewish people in in Israel. And that same mechanism, ladies and gentlemen, is taking place in America, Canada, and all of these other countries. They're getting you to submit. So
Literally
what do you do?
All over the world, Mark. Literally all over the world. Sorry to interrupt. I just got to get that one in. It's not just Tara Australis. I'm talking about the Asian countries, South Korea, even in my native country, Vietnam. They're doing it everywhere else. I don't care if it's communism or any fascist, it's global. So what you've just said there, Mark, is I'd say would be a very correct statement and profound statement as well. Insightful and profound. I know those are all poison words, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment in my mind, that they're killing the creditors. Would that be a fair statement?
That's a big subject which I need to now explain. Now listen very carefully. Listen, folks. I am saving your lives. For people in Ireland, people in England, people in the United States of America, I'm going to save your life. The mechanism is to eradicate their citizens from the territories of all these countries, which you have now come to understand as a global depopulation program. And what's significant is this key word that Federal Postal Court Judge Hugh has said. creditor, creditor, and debtor. You, the people of Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, Cocoa Island, Zealand, England, United States of America, natives of Canada, South Africa, African countries, are actually creditors of the corporations. Listen carefully how that instrument works. They get you to believe you need a credit card or you need a death pledge called a mortgage. When you put your signature onto a credit card or a mortgage or a health insurance or anything like even hiring a car, what you have done is you have allowed them to take this piece of paper called a security. You have given that empty corporations, and all corporations by themselves are incapable of producing any sweat equity, commercial energy, or anything else. They have zero creativity. They need somebody to give them creativity. They need somebody to give them commercial energy. They need somebody to give them the ideas and the banknotes, the gold, the silver, to try to come alive, as it were, what's called an afterlife. And as a result, your autograph, your signature is a corporate instrument. An autograph is that which a man and a woman does. Yeah, that's the fact. That's the graph of your autonomy as a man or a woman, and your signature is the signature you create on behalf of a corporation. That's why they get you to put the signature, and they now take that and they put it into a private side of a banking ledger. A private side of a banking ledger, that means you can't see it. It's hidden from the public. And they list you in that private ledger as the creditor. The creditor is somebody that gives value to something. Like if you give me credit, you're saying you're giving my word credit, my sweat equity credit, my life credit. They list you as a creditor in the private ledger. But on the public ledger, which is an act, because everything in a public is a stage play. It's a comic. It's a what's known as a fiction, is a corporation. It's an acting entity. It's an acting CEO. They put you in your all caps name as the debtor. They list you as the debtor. So when the general public, which are now in their millions, when they find out they're the wealth of the nation, they are the wealth of the Commonwealth, they are the wealth of Otara, Australia, that they are the creditors of all of this, when they find out, the general public wants to do what? They want their credit back. Because the men and women that they gave it to, the corporations, are what? They're the debtors. But they don't want to give it back after the 99-year lease. Because when the 99-year lease runs out, they have to give the debtor, which is the corporations, Australia, Commonwealth of Australia, Commonwealth of United States, and so on and so forth. They have to give back that credit, because they're the debtor, back to the people that originated. And because they don't want to give it back and they want to bank it and they want to keep it, you kill off the people under germ warfare or war, because when you take people into war, what happens? You okay, Hugh? When you take people and you put them in war, you kill off the creditor. Because if you die, your credit dies with you. Yeah, and because your children don't know anything about it, they can't herit as opposed to inherit. Two different words. Inherit means no heritage.
Yes.
Heritage means that you inherit. That's why they call in England, the poor people, they say you get heritage. You get, sorry, beg your pardon, inheritage. The rich people, the aristocracy, get the heritage. Because in, like incompetent, means no competent.
Yes.
Inherit is what the poor people get. Look, Israel. Look, America. Look, Canada. Look, Ireland. Look everywhere in the world. India, which is not even the true name of that land. India means no original land. Millions. They want to destroy, kill millions, if not a billion or more.
Yes.
So they don't have to pay back the creditor. Because you are the credit. And through the drafts, when they kill off these people, the debt that the corporations and the Commonwealth of Australia, Commonwealth of every country in the world, they write it off as an act of war.
Yes.
And this happened in World War I, World War II. It's happening in Vietnam. It happened in your country, Vietnam. It's happening now. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do not think that the beautiful Jewish people of this world are the only one that get killed. Please do not think that the beautiful American people are the only ones that get themselves hooked into conflicts of war. Please do not think that the English people are the only ones that fall victim to lies. It's now whole world. And these corporations have to make sure they kill off as many people as they can through genocide, germ warfare, vaccines, so on and so forth, to write off their debt to the original creditors, just as they have to give back the lands of Australia to America back to the native chieftains that still own it. Where are they going to put 4 billion people?
That's right.
Now,
So, Mark, this is not really about health as such, as I would put it, but it's really follow the money and you find the reason. Would that be a correct statement?
the job, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. The job of the media is never to question the narrative, but always to state the narrative as being true. So when I say, or when we say, we don't question the subject matter. We question the language where the tricks are played. Not only that, we say, oh, you say coronavirus exists. Okay, prove it. Prove to me that the coronavirus exists. And they do. They open up a medical dictionary. And what does that medical dictionary say, ladies and gentlemen?
Common cold, I think, was it?
Coronavirus is listed as what? The common cold. Go to my website, look up the American the medical dictionary, as I have on my shelf, as we have shown again and again, is listed as a common cold. So people die of the common cold. We understand that, don't we? So we have proven to them, oh, I didn't know you need to be vaccinated from a common cold. I didn't know common colds were fatal. We didn't know any. Those masks that they wear are to protect what? People sneezing from a common cold. And they turned that using Shakespearean language, like that verse in Macbeth. The raven himself croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan. Come, ye spirits that tend on dark mortal thoughts. That's what they're doing. They're using shadow games to penetrate into getting you to believe that there is such a thing as a coronavirus and that it's deadly, when a simple page on a dictionary will disqualify. We now have them for practicing genocide, germ warfare, chemical warfare on the natives of America, on the natives of Terra Australis, and the rest of the world. I will now, if Hugh is happy, move on to how to put these people under arrest.
One more comment I want to add in there, Mark, to kind of expand on that, is that sometimes they use double speak. In other words, when they say you may have corona and you don't know it, or everyone may have corona or have a potential to have corona, they're actually speaking the truth, but at the lie at the same time, because corona is a common cold. And yes, it's correct. Everyone does have a common cold and they don't know it, but they would make it out as if it's a deadly thing that would kill, but when it's not. So that's the lie I want to put. The 1% lie, sorry, the 1% truth, or the 2% truth, and the 98% lie. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. I'll analyze that a little bit further. It's called the people of the lie, the people of the forked tongue. To say one thing and mean another. To be as you put it, to tell the lie and the truth at the same time.
At the same time, yes.
Yeah. So how does that work? Okay, two things. You may have corona, but you don't know you have it. You may have coronavirus, but you may not you have it. Both are true. I'll tell you how. Corona means that you have gold coming to you. You have gold, silver, and copper and Bitcoin coming to you through the corporations because you are the creditor. That's called the corona period. What's corona mean? It means a golden crown.
Yes.
You have a golden crown coming to you. So by you putting your claim in to say, give me my credit back, you have acquired your golden crown. That's called a corona. And you also have coronavirus. You may have a cold. Not a virus, because nobody knows the existence of a virus. Nobody's ever proven the existence of a virus. It cannot by its very nature be proven.
Correct.
Yeah, but they'll say, look, we know we've put it on a petri dish and this is what's happened. Well, you have millions of RNA molecules, which are parts of a genetic code, freely floating around. If you give it food, like you take one of those blood cells, which contains millions of RNA, and you put it onto a petri dish that you make yourself, like say with boiled eggs, you will see that there is protein growth. And they say, well, that's the sign that's a virus. No, that's what an RNA does. It produces that specific protein.
Right.
It's a massive lie that they perpetrate. So what is it that I'm saying? You may well have it, but you also have the ability as a creditor to now claim your golden crown. Yeah. Now, you guys understand that every single thing that we are saying to you is so profound. It should be able to spin you around 180 degrees and realize that you are the wealth of the nation. And the creditor has an enemy. Do you know what that enemy is, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know what the enemy of the creditor is in the world of fiction? In the world of the Commonwealth? It is called the enemy of the debtor. The enemy of the debtor is the creditor. Yeah?
Yes.
The friend of a creditor is the debtor, because the debtor has to pay back the money owed to the general public. What I have revealed to you has to be shared with the entire surface of this planet. This presentation that we have put together that took us decades, including David Wayne Miller, with his language technology, with his live life claims, has allowed the entire planet to become, just like Bitcoin, the beneficiaries of their credit. The corporations, the Ireland Corporation, has to give back the credit back to the people. And that's
Correct.
why they go so hard into saying that you are not the creditor, but the debtor, because you are a citizen of the City of London in Ireland. That's why they have two words, one spelled E-I-R-E, and the other one, which is the corporation, spelled I-R-E-L-A-N-D. Two words, two different meanings, creditor, debtor. Me and Hugh, at this moment in time, as well as the Federal Postal Court, have broken the code on the monetary system, revealed to you information that is so pertinent, it has to, by its very nature, be shared with the entire world, including the Chinese, including the Israeli people, the Palestinians, the New Zealand people, all of them, the Zealanders, all of them.
Yes.
Nobody on YouTube is giving you this type of information. Why? It's not because we are so clever. It's not because Hugh is so gifted. No. It's because there is so much activity, pernicious activity, taking your gaze away so you don't understand this fraud. And these fraudsters are like that half-wit that talks about the reptilians. I've forgotten his name, Ike or something. You have so many of these idiots that are paid for by the corporations, like WikiLeaks, who is an actor who works for the debtors, the corporations, the Commonwealth. Because all the information that he releases is what? Decommissioned works. 10-year decommission, 25 years, 75 years. He uses that and get you to believe, oh, he's in prison, or Chile is put... He's a liar. Say it. He is a liar. Put him under the penalty of perjury. When he opens his mouth, under his full name, put him under the penalty of perjury, and he will not ever open his mouth. That's how powerful this is. Should I now go on to the subject matter, how to put your government and the police officers and the soldiers arrest?
I think there will be a lot of interest in that. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully.
If we get interference from the internet, stay with us, because I'm not going to break the channel. This is also being recorded independently. So if something happens, it will be still reaching the information. Full stop. I am now going to tell you, I'm going to tell the millions, the billions of people out there how to perform putting these people under arrest. When a soldier or a police officer tries to do anything to you, what at that particular point in time, that police officer or that soldier has vacated their oath. What that means is at the very point when they try to do something on behalf of a corporation, they stop being a peacekeeping officer. All soldiers on this planet, all police officers, all policemen and women are peacekeeping officers. And when they perform something for a corporation, they are actually vacated their oath. At this point, whether they are pointing a gun at you or scared of you or being very polite, irrespective, that is not a peacekeeping officer or a man in uniform. It has vacated it. The creature has yet to take off the uniform. But because he keeps the uniform on, the general public believe he's still under his oath. He is not. So repeat what I have just said. When a police officer does something for a corporation, like check your pockets or try to confiscate or question you, he has vacated his position as a peace officer. At this point, he is at the most vulnerable position because he is not a peacekeeping officer. He is not a peacekeeping position, or she. They are a private security guard. And a private security guard cannot interfere with you. They have no powers of arrest unless they get your permission. Unless they say you understand. So at this point, he is at the most vulnerable. This is when their flesh and blood is revealed as being the most vulnerable, and their uniform and their guns cannot protect them. At this point, you tell them you have vacated your peacekeeping officer's oath. Okay, as a result, you are now in your private capacity, because they're now a private man or a woman. You're a private person operating as a mercenary on this land, trying to privatize me. That means they're trying to practice piracy on you. At that point, you can now put that man who's practicing piracy under arrest by using these words. You are under the penalty of perjury as a man or a woman, not the uniform. And since you are now performing those things of a corporation upon a physical man or physical woman, you have vacated your oath of office. And you are now practicing terrorism on this live life claimant, or this native man. Never use the word person or individual. This man, this woman on Tara Australis, on the United States of American soil, on the territory of Canada, of the territory of South Africa, because this is happening in South Africa as well, and Israel, that I am a native of Palestine, which is what Israel is. You are terrorizing me. I am now going to put you under arrest. You are now under my command to surrender your armaments, and I'm going to strip you. I'm going to strip you of your insignia and put you under arrest. And here it is. At this point, if he does not say, or she, that they are under the penalty of perjury with their oath in hand, then they are mercenaries working for a private corporation. South Africa is owned by the same private corporations, including New Zealand, as opposed to Zealand, including United Kingdom, including Canada, America, India. The general public is now at the position when they are doing this to a native, because they never do it to an Aboriginal, do they? Because they are native. So you need to let them know at this point, it is that you who are out of uniform, because every man and woman is duty bound to protect the people and the land from mercenaries and piracy.
Correct.
Yeah, that's why I make sure that the piracy that took place in David Wayne Miller's technology and his camp never takes root, like that half-wit called Russell J. Gould and these other half-wits that I've mentioned. There are so many of these privateers that work for these private corporations. If they want authority, this is what you do, because I take full responsibility for it. You tell them that the Chief Federal Postal Court Judge, full colon, Federal Postal Court Judge, full colon, Mark hyphen Kishon Christopher, full stop, as authorized the people of Terra Australis, the people of the United States of America, the people of England, Spain, France, and the rest of it, as authorized every man and a woman to put these privateers who have vacated their oath of office and now practicing what is known, not the word practicing, but conducting mercenary duties on behalf of a private corporation, which is called piracy, and any man and woman is duty bound to make sure that they put these men and women under arrest. If they do not put them under arrest, then they are participating in the fraud. You don't ever protest these people, because when you protest, what are you doing? You are validating that they have powers. You just simply, as a man and as a woman, you tell them, step out of my way. I am a man, and I am native to Terra Australia. I am native to the United States of America, landmass territorial. And you are interfering. If you do anything, you have vacated your oath. And at this point, I will put you under arrest as a duty-bound man and woman of the soil, of the landmass, for practicing mercenary and being a private. At this point, put them under arrest. You may take their hand, their wrist, never strike. Never use more force than is necessary. You hold them by the wrist. You hold them by the other wrist. You tear off their insignia. And you have somebody witnessing it, like filming it on a cell phone. Okay? And you are able to do that, and you must do this. And I have shown you, and I've told you the mechanism. In this presentation, we have given you so much that you have enough power to conduct your affairs. We have safeguarded this planet, just as David Wayne Miller with his quantum language technology, just as the Titans have done so with their Bitcoin, and just as with fungible tokens, which is going to be the new way of doing business. We have given you all this information. We have saved your life. It is your duty now to also think about your neighbor. It is your duty to now think about your neighbor called Zealanders. You need to now think about the people of us on South Africa, which are experiencing the same thing. You need to think about the people in Israel. You know, when Israel was founded, it was sold by a piece of land given over to the Rothschilds, who was the brokering house, sanctioned by the Vatican to set up the state of Israel to practice terrorism on Jewish people. Do you know who the number one opposition is to the existence of Israel is? The Orthodox Jewish people that lived very healthily, very well in the lands of Palestine, until they rewrote history saying that the Palestinians attacked them. Human beings believe everything, just as the Jamaicans believe that they are African slaves. They are not, they're natives. Just as we have demonstrated that the people of Terra Australia are native to Terra Australia, and they are not citizens of Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, Coco Island, just as the American people are not citizens of Washington, D.C., just as the Irish people are not citizens under subject and servitude of the City of London to the Crown Corporation, figurined, masqueraded as a mannequin with that pathetic thing that wears the crown that belongs to the people, because that's the golden age. This is the corona period. The crown must fall on your head. I have taken full responsibility. Everybody knows where I am. I'm in East London. Any police officer, any soldier wants to talk to me, you talk to
including the
me.
United Nations, including the United Nations.
The United Nations people have to be informed, and we have informed them, because I'm a Chief Federal Postal Court judge, as a plenipotentiary judge, as the master for the Pentagon. I have explained to them what is happening. The United Nations are peacekeeping officers. If they ever attack the people, then they have practiced treason. But they have to know, the people in Australia, we can't fight the battle of 10 billion people or 5 billion people or 200, 500. We have already done this for ourselves. You've done it for yourself. Your father did it for you. You do it for yourself and your children. I have done it for myself and my loved ones and for the Federal Postal Court. They have to do it. We have given them the knowledge. Yeah, the United Nations peacekeeping officers are there to safeguard the native people of that. And the Jamaicans need to know that. The South Africans need to know that. The Americans need to know this. This is why they have to share this information. And I have put my name online. Under no circumstances must you be belligerent. You just simply go up to them.
Yes, that's important.
Saying, I am a native of this land, Tara, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, whatever it is.
Mm.
And I'm a live life claim holder.
Mm-hmm.
And if you interfere and stop me, and if you are not here to safeguard me, then you are practicing mercenary privateering on behalf of a private corporation. And you have vacated your oath, and you are under the penalty of perjury. You are under the penalty of perjury.
So you basically put him on notice.
That's it. You've put them on notice. If you interfere with me, I will put you under arrest as a duty-bound man. Put you under arrest for practicing mercenaries. And I will strip you of your uniform because you have masqueraded as a peacekeeping officer. If I am not a police officer or a policeman and a woman, and I'm wearing a uniform, what does that make me?
Fraudulent, isn't it?
A fraudster, a mercenary. Fraudster. It makes me a mercenary. And what's the penalty of a soldier wearing another country's uniform when he goes to that country? That becomes what? A death penalty.
It's
a death penalty.
Taken out very quickly.
Yeah, taken out very quickly. I think, Hugh, that you should, if it's okay, explain anything else you think the general public, especially people in Australia and in South Africa, needs to know. Because you have the ear in Australia. I have the ear in Americas. You know, I have the ear in these sort of places. But
okay,
please.
Well, thank you, Mark. My concluding comments is that even though if you continue watching the news and the media and mainstream, they would give you the feeling and the impression that you are powerless, that you don't have any power, and then you have to submit, you have to obey because it's just it's mandatory or whatever words that they put down. But if you just stop and just think about the status and the position that you have, the competence, the status, you have more power than the established machine that is going on at the moment. And so what Mark and I have just shared, the strategies there, is actually very profound, and putting them on notice. It takes a lot of it takes courage to do that because you're not used to that, But if you understand your real worth and correct status, then you can perform that. And if you feel that it's a bit funny, you can write it out on a piece of paper and read it out to them. Would that be a good idea, Mark?
Absolutely, write it out, as I said. Now, when you're speaking, somebody pointed out something on the text bar. They said, okay, we've arrested them. Now what do we do? It's very simple. You find another man or a woman that's in uniform and you put them under penalty of oath. So you say you are now duty bound and you are under the penalty of perjury to perform your duties as a what? As a peacekeeping constable. We have captured this man, this woman, who is practicing mercenary, who is practicing piracy on us, that are, never use the word citizen, that are natives of this country. You now may take him into prison and have him prosecuted, and you can now call us as witnesses to his or her crimes. And you can just simply show them your live life claim or a photocopy of it or authenticated. Or you can just simply take a $1 postage stamp, autograph your name across it, thumbprint it, date it. That will be sufficient for the time being.
That is brilliant, Mark.
It's as simple as that.
Brilliant. Simplicity. Brilliant. The power is in the simplicity.
The power is in the simplicity of the man and woman. The job of the fiction government, the fiction government's another word for the lying government, who work for a small group of privateers, which you now know own Australia, South Africa, and the rest of it. It's very simple. Any man and woman is duty bound to take out piracy from this planet. All naval commanders are under their penalty of oath to remove all piracy on the high seas. And roads are what? They're inland waterways because they're in maritime. Yeah. So you can contact the Navy as well. Yeah. Just follow the instructions that I did and tell them, Navy, we need your help here. Come along. What does the word Navy mean? It's very simple. It comes from the word naval. When you are born, the Navy takes allegiance to protect your navel, the point of your belly. Because when you are birthed in maritime, they take custody in safeguarding you and take an oath. And you can evoke that oath. You can bring that oath forward. Their job is to protect your physical body as you move from point A to point B.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. And I've shown you the mechanism. Take a $1, £1, whatever it is, stamp, $2, $5, not £1.50 or anything. Autograph, not signature. Autograph. Graph of your autonomy. Go to my website, learn how to do it. It's there. Autograph your name, thumbprint it on the paper, on the stamp, on your name, date it. Turn that piece of paper over, date that back of that piece of paper, and that will suffice until you have got yourself a proper live life claim and all that. Yes. What I want to emphasize is that we're not going to do this for you. We're not going to come to Australia and arrest 50,000 police officers for you. You do it.
Yes.
We've done it for ourselves already. Yeah. So,
and I want to also,
and we're not going to pay for it either. I mean, we've been paying for this, what? I've been paying for it since 12 years. David Wayne Miller for the last 30 years until he passed away. It is you folks. This is your life.
Yep.
If you want to take up your corona period, your golden crown, if you want to reverse you being a debtor to a creditor and put these corporations back. I mean, what I have revealed to you, ladies and gentlemen, is so powerful. It should be able to make your chest grow by another 20 inches. You should be able to breathe in a tongue of oxygen. You should be able to feel the knowledge, the power, the things that you have to be able to move peacefully as a majestic man that you are, as a majestic woman that you are, to know all power is yours and that the corporations, the private corporations, have no power. This is why they are so terrified of you. Like Nelson Mandela, what is he? He's a crown operative. He's a moron, never done anything in his life, but got the general public through actings and sexy singers getting to believe that he is somebody. He is a moron. He got the black people believing they are black, because what does black mean? It means no standing in law. What does a white South African mean? What does a black South African mean? Black South African means they have no standing in law. A white South African means they only have standing in Europe and in North Africa. That's what white means. It means you're an origin, you're originated in North Africa and not South Africa. And that you have more ties to Europe than anywhere else, because you're registered as a native of North Africa or Europe. So you can't be South African, can you?
Tricks again, isn't it, Mark? It's always that trick again. Always bringing you out of that. So Mark, before you say another...
So I beg your pardon, do not follow people like Nelson Mandela, Gandhi out of India, Martin Luther King out of Americas, the Kennedy family. They're bloody actors.
Okay.
Ask yourself one question. Whatever came off the freedom movements of the 60s under this acting name called Martin Luther King, whatever came off of it? Nothing. It's just a big facade, so you don't ever hear the messages of the Chief Federal Postal Court judges and the plenipotentiary judges speaking to you. Because when you share this video with the rest of the world, you bypass all of their censorship. You bypass all of their shadow banning. That's the power of communication. Thank you, Hugh. Let me hand it back to you.
Yes. So one of the questions that I would like to ask for the audience is that they're in their houses and they may get a knock on the door from these mercenaries who would ask them, would it be a good idea to put a notice in front of the door first, as well as having that script to tell these mercenaries? What's the best?
So if they go and visit my website, there's a particular A4 form there, which anybody knocks on your door, even the car or anything like that, it tells you that you show them this and say, you are now the law, because you are the law in your own property. First of all, let me stop. Have a sign out at your gateway, okay, before they come into your territory, before they come into your space, private. Just put private, that's all.
Private.
And if they breach that, then you have a second one, that's on my website, and you just simply tell them the law requires you to do this, which is that you are now under the penalty of perjury, and they have to fill it in just as they ask you to fill it in. And that's there free. That's there free on my website, and I've given it to you for your people as well. That's easy. Because what the people don't do is that they don't put them under the penalty of perjury. Print it out, always, carry it with you. Carry it with you.
Sorry, Mark. They're so used to filling out their forms. When you
what about them filling out your form? You don't have forms? Of course you have forms,
Yeah. So thank you for that, Mark. I just wanted to also make a calling out for the farmers in Terra Australis. Some of these are also struggling, and I like to encourage them to come forward. Go to, email me, email Mark, just to come forward with your questions and concerns as well. So that's all I wanted to say, because I haven't had any correspondence from that. So just wanted to reach out to them.
And thank you very much. On a last note, the general public share this information because the world is at this stage. The debtors want you dead. Because if you are dead, they write off their debt. Because any dead person, any dead man or woman can write off the debt. You know that. And they wish to write it off. Before, you folks out there have learnt that you have been the creditors to these private corporations and you want your credit back. They are the debtors. You are the creditor. In this presentation, the Federal Postal Court, as well as me and Hugh, Hugh, have given you more knowledge in these 2 minutes, in this 1.5 hours, than you have had in watching hundreds of hours of YouTube presentations. We have given you the solutions to the problems as well as explaining how the problems originated, and we've given you the power. And I, not Hugh, I have taken full responsibility as the plenipotentiary judge as well as the global master to give the people of this planet, of this earth, this world, to be able to put any foreign agents, police officers, soldiers under oath. And then, if they do not go under the penalty of perjury, if they are not there to safeguard you and acting as, not acting, but are working for these private corporations, they have now vacated their duty of office and they are now vulnerable to put them under arrest. And that is what you must do. You must not shout at them. You must not make sounds or anything like that nature. The people around you will also be paid to make sure they cause disturbances. There are millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people that are paid by these private corporations as antagonists. To make sure that they antagonize the crowd by trying to stir up emotions. Don't even open your mouth. Don't even protest. Don't even say anything. Go about your business. If they interfere, come together and saying what I have just said. Listen to it, write it down. What is it? You are under the penalty of perjury as a peacekeeping officer. I am a native of Tara, Australia. I am a native of South Africa. I am a native of America or any other country. And because of this, if you do anything else other than assist me in aiding me, that means you have vacated your oath of office and you are now working as a mercenary for a private corporation masquerading as a peacekeeping officer. Because of this, I am now duty bound to put you under arrest and hand you over to a peacekeeping officer for processing through the land courts or the factual courts on this planet. And you can evoke that by just simply saying, because every single courtroom on this planet can be evoked to being any other jurisdiction on this planet. You can turn any courtroom into whatever court you want by just simply saying it. Okay?
That's powerful, man.
It's just write it out. We're not going to do it for you. You must write it out. Share this information. Improve upon it. And most important of all, it's not the police officers or soldiers you need to be frightened of or be wary of. It's actually the provocateurs that are actually working for these private corporations. That's the ones that will mislead you. Those are the ones who throw the bricks, who make the shouts. Put them under arrest. If any man or woman out of uniform starts throwing bricks at peacekeeping officers, put them under arrest. You are now under arrest. Put them in cuffs if need be. Restrain them because they may do harm to yourself, property, and themselves. That's how you deal with the provocateurs. You put them under arrest. And when you do that, the peacekeeping officers will think, oh my God, they're protecting us. We now have to protect them. That's how you create this silent armament. This is how you win over the belligerents. Because the men and women in uniform are just like you. They will only
Yeah.
go for so far until their conscience kicks in. And if they're psychopaths and narcissists, they are cowardly and they'll break away and just simply hide. That's how you do it. You must always speak as a man and woman. Yeah.
Thank
That
you
is
very much,
that.
Mark.
That is that. Visit our websites, pick up that information, write these things out, share it amongst the world. Because if you don't, your children and you will be depopulated. Who is the creditor? Write it out for me. Who is the creditor? It is you. Who is the debtor? It is the private corporations. Thank you very much, Hugh.
No, thank you, Mark. Thank you for sharing that information. I wish everyone a pleasant day and to stay strong, courageous, and know your status and your power, and follow just even half of what Mark and I have shared. I think you've going a long way to establishing that status and that confidence and strength by numbers. Try not to get into belligerence with them, because I love that to get belligerent and then therefore they have a reason to pin you down. So just remember, protest, belligerence, it's not for you. So that's all I wanted to take for. It was a good talk and a good live stream. So I'll
Thank you
see
very much.